detailed the coaches who had been fired and had gone into the, as Gene so aptly put it, into the Nick Saban witness protection program and came out on the other side better for it. I felt as if we do a number of pieces like this year to year. I think it's the best one we've ever done. And the reason I think that is because it's real easy to go in there and go, oh, Nick Saban touches all these coaches and they go get jobs, or to be snarky about it and say everybody just hires Nick Saban coaches. And we got to a different level. My wife sensed that. It seems that yours did too, Pete.
Yeah, no, my wife, Kate, and again, in my house, there's a lot of hirings and firings, right? In a probably cold and bloodless transactional level, meaning like the last thing she said to me before she said that, she was like, oh, it's Sunday. Coaches get fired on Sunday when Scott Frost came up. So she sees that as it's an inconvenience to our family time. It is true, though. Coaches do get fired a lot on Sundays. So anyway, we were talking about the show a little bit, and she said that like really like touched me. Like those guys really like were bearing their souls about what it was like, and they didn't want to like bring their kids to practice or go to the grocery store. And again, she has no idea who these coaches are. I want to be clear. So I think that was indicative of how it cut through the story cut through at a human level. So you got some kudos in Southie, Gene, and I'd be curious how just how much time you put into it. Was it hard to convince these guys to bare their soul?
Yeah, well, two quick things. One, my wife doesn't even like. I'll get home and she says, "Oh, were you gone this week?" I had no idea. And I need Reese to do my annual performance review moving forward. That would really be helpful. That is a story that we actually started working on. Barry Abrams was producer on it, and he actually pitched the story late spring, early summer, and started working on that thing in July, starting going to each of those campuses, and Arkansas State and Ole Miss and Bama, and we got O'Brien also while we were at Bama, and going out to Texas to see Sarkisian, going to Maryland to see Michael Locksley. So we had the benefit of time during the summer. Usually during the season, it just doesn't work that way. It would have been nearly impossible to get all those guys into that story, given the amount of time that we have that's compressed into our usual game day week. So that was a bonus. Relative to what you guys were mentioning about sort of the human aspect of it, that's what struck me also. And that's what helped make the story, I think, different. That these guys, you see them behind a podium, and there's this sort of cone of invincibility when they're talking to the media or talking to fans, or they're just in a different place once the season starts. Here, we got them during the off season, and you could tell that just below the surface. And these are highly successful, highly paid people. But below the surface was a real human feeling of failure and a certain amount of embarrassment and shame, probably too strong of a word. But as Butch Jones said in the piece, it's the lowest moment I've ever felt in my life for me and my family. So clearly, even years in some cases after they'd been fired, it still hurt. And just like it would hurt us, and it didn't matter how much money you got paid the previous year, Butch Jones, $4 million, it still hurt for someone to tap you on the shoulder and say, you're not good enough, get out of here. And I think we forget that sometimes, fans forget it sometimes, that these are human beings, and it hurts when someone tells you, you're not good enough, we need you to leave. Please clear out your office and get out.
A lot of times when people experience that, most times I would say, people want to move on from their failures. Why do you think they wanted to talk to you about it?
I don't know how to answer that one, Reese. I would like to think in most of these cases with these coaches, I've dealt with them in the past. So I hope that there's a certain amount of trust there, that they knew I wasn't there to embarrass them or to mock them or to, I don't know, somehow treat their journey and that firing and that lowest professional moment in a way that would be anything but respectful. So I hope that was part of it. But I also think it was a way to get to the other point, which was I was at my lowest moment. And then here was this guy, not arguably, the greatest college football coach of all time, and perhaps arguably the greatest, college football coach of all time, and maybe the greatest football coach of all time. And he was there, and he was going to extend a hand to me, and that meant something to me. So I'm going to take you from the lowest to, in a sense, the highest point. And the only way I can get there is to describe to you how bad it was when I got canned, when I got the pink slip, when someone kneecapped me. And on the other end of it was this guy, Nick Saban, to try to help me out. So maybe that had something to do with it.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.